Okay, here we go. Here's day 4 of the Button Jeans, and I do apologize for not getting this uploaded sooner. I decided to take a couple of weeks off, fit in a couple of car shows on the weekends, and I'm just kind of getting back to the grind. It's not really a grind, but you know what I mean. Anyways, the project here. So just throwing an outline on the outside of the wood border there. Just using some of the one-shot tan, I believe that is. I'd first thought maybe I was going to use imitation gold, and I did use the imitation gold, but I felt it was just too yellow-ish. So I wiped it off, went back to this more muted earth tone color. Tied in a lot better with the overall look. It's probably been about 3 weeks, I think, since maybe even a month now since I actually finished this project. So now I've got to try and recall just what the heck was going on. Using the 00 MAC blue wrap there to throw that outline there. Getting almost about a 1/4 inch line there. You can get a real fine line with a pinstriping brush, or you can get a heavy line. It's just all a matter of how much pressure you want to lay down. So here we're speeding up here, fly through this. No, actually I paint that fast. Yeah, like heck you do. So here I've switched over to the Gerald Tidwell, the long liner. Working on getting that scroll work there. The unfortunate part is that I'm not very good at doing scroll work, so I got a little frustrated getting into this. I think I wiped it off 2 if not 3 times before I felt I was getting somewhere adequate with it. I am my own worst critic, though. Well, as far as I know. I mean, maybe there are worse critics than myself. So we're just going to try and clean that up as nice as I can so that I can paint it on just to wipe it off again later on. But there are some days where I feel like I'm wiping off more lines than I'm leaving behind. But all I'm trying to do is basically do the very best that I can do for the customer. And geez, from here it doesn't look bad, but I know I end up wiping it off again. So let's have another go at this. The funny part is, I've noticed that I started in a different spot. Perhaps that was all that it took. Well, that and the 2 or 3 test runs beforehand probably helped out too. Who knows? I did get it done eventually. I suppose if you're getting paid by the hour, you could just keep on rubbing that off all day long. And I think sometimes you just get a little too critical. You know, I remember when old Butcher there, the guy that was teaching me sign painting, there would be days where he would just yell at me and he'd just say, "Just paint the damn thing, would you?" You forget that sometimes it's just a sign, you know. Yes, this is art, but being too critical really doesn't always matter. Customer's never going to see some of the little things that you think are imperfections. It's good to always try to get better and be better, but you can't spend, 6 or 7 days on a 3-day job. Something else down the road's got to get done. You got to pay the bills, so you got to get on to the next project. So listen to me complaining. I get to do this every day and I'm complaining. That's not complaining. Trust me. So we're going to speed this up a little bit more here, and I'm going to throw some more tunes at you. Well, the scrolling is going to get a little easier now, I guess, for me, which is very nice. And then we'll get on to I think the lettering at the bottom. I don't know, I can't remember. You said it was a month ago. I've done a bunch of other stuff since then. Including I bought myself a drone, so there should be some videos I'll be uploading on this channel with my new drone. So that should be something neat to take to some car shows, some other events that I go to. Would have been nice to have taken it to this last one in Belleville, but I just got it in on Thursday and there just wasn't time for me to pack it all up properly and have it all charged. Yep, going much smoother now. Glad I don't have to wipe anything off. So here I'm just going to do a quick, real heavy, well, not too heavy, about what's that, about a 3/8 of an inch outline around the boards that make up the planks that make up that lettering. And this goes pretty fast because you don't have to be all that precise. I'm going to speed this up again here shortly. There we go. So now back with the, I believe that's still the Tidwell long liner. Now I'm just putting the detail onto those planks. Just a fine outline, and then I add some little bit, throw some lines in some cracks down the planks using that dark brown, chocolate brown color there. And that really tends to now sets those letters off quite nicely. Yeah, there I am, just putting in a few lines here and there to kind of mimic or to represent the cracks in the wood. And again, here it's nice, you know, doing this was easy because there wasn't a whole lot of precision involved in doing that. The looser you get, the better the effect, really. You know, don't overthink it, basically. Don't complicate it. And that's hard to do sometimes. You don't know if what you're doing is right or not. You know, you almost feel like, well, maybe I'm supposed to be doing something that's more precise, when in reality it's not always necessary. And then once I get done this, then I'm going to be on to, I guess, the only thing left, or those trees that are in the foreground there. So here we're on to the last little bit now. Just working on the couple of small trees there on the shoreline. Tended to start with a little bit of the limbs, the trunk, some of the limbs, and then just work off of that. I think this camera angle is a lot better too. You can see the bud and jeans much better. So starting from dark to light. Putting the highlights on the sun side, the setting sun. And there, although you can't tell that the quality, the picture itself turns out much better than the actual picture is much more intense looking than the quality here of the video, unfortunately. So now off to doing the other trees. Is that where I'm at now? Not yet. I think I just went from, a very dark green, forest green, then to the emerald green. Then I think the final color I used was that sublime green for the final highlights. And here, just throwing in. This basically, that's the shadow that that's the dark part of the tree, and then build out from that. Again, nothing precise. It's pretty loose. It's one of those, I don't even know what you call those brushes. It's it's got it's a flat, rounded end. I'm always just buying brushes and then I just try them for different things. I never know exactly what they're supposed to be used for. Then I just play with them until I figure out what they work best for what I'm doing. And it is an oil brush, though. I do know that much. I wouldn't, they do have latex brushes and watercolor brushes and that. I think I even do have some watercolor brushes because I just buy them just for the depending on how soft the hairs are sometimes. So I'm just building up, and I'm using the special the blend, the dipper that I use for blending the colors together. And I know a couple people have already commented on other videos or sent me emails and that asking about the blender that I mixed up. It's something that I was introduced to many years ago when I was working at a billboard shop. The Pictorial artists there were using it. So what is it? Well, it's a 3-ingredient mixture. It's nothing too complicated. You start with 50% of what I use is a Helmsman's Minwax Spar Urethane clear gloss varnish. So like I said, it's a 50% mixture of that. To that I add in 25% of boiled linseed oil, and I top it up with 25% of paint thinner, and mix that all in together, and voila, you've got yourself a blender. Now, I haven't used that blender that much in this because it's more of a dry effect that you're wanting here anyways. The blender works really well when you're trying to, like with that sky in the background, you're trying to blend those colors in, get a smooth gradation. It works well for that. This here, doing the trees, I used it a bit, but it wasn't really necessary because you're not trying to have a smooth transition between the colors. You want it looking kind of rough. But I will I'll put that in the description though of the video too, the recipe for that blender. And I just mix a jar of it up, a small jar. Keep it well when I'm going out to do a job like this, and I just grab it and take it with me, or if I've always got it in the studio here too. So And after a while, it starts to gum up and dry up, and try not to have too big of a jar. You don't need a great big jam jar or something like that. Just find a small jar. You don't use a lot of it, and after a while, it starts to. It's almost nicer when it gets a little thickened up. It works a little bit better. But after a while, it gets too gelled up, and so I just toss it and mix up some new stuff. So just a few more happy little trees getting painted here, and then we're going to be finished. I hope everybody enjoyed the process and the videos here that I've put together. It was definitely fun for me, but any day doing a job like this is fun compared to anything else that's out there, working in a factory or digging a ditch. Very fortunate that I get to do this for a living and get paid for it, and I keep that in mind right from the beginning right to the very end. That being said, the end is quickly coming up here. Don't forget to like and share. Appreciate any feedback as always. And I gotta get going and putting some new videos up too, now that I'm back off of holiday time now. So I'll let this go out in silence here. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Catch you on the next one. Dano out.